Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. The AFC's MVP race, as Lamar has already grabbed a few of these and nearly ended up grabbing one from Josh Allen last year. Lamar will enter this season as the favorite. When you put these two guys side by side, you see just how close the MVP race was. A reminder that the first team All-Pro quarterback actually was Lamar instead of Josh Allen. Lamar finished the season with 41 touchdown passes to just 4 interceptions, a near 120 passer rating, over 4,000 yards. Josh Allen threw for 400 fewer yards, 13 fewer touchdowns. He did run on the season for 12 touchdowns compared to just 4 for Lamar, but still did trail in the total touchdown category. My biggest takeaway from that MVP race is Josh Allen has no chance to win MVP this coming season. I don't see any way, because for Josh Allen last year, the MO was play controlled and within himself, and it resulted in wins. But Josh also ended up winning MVP despite losing out statistically to Lamar and record-wise to Mahomes. And I think even if he were to correct one of those two, it would be unlikely for Josh Allen to correct both of those year over year. And still, primarily, the best way to win league's MVP is to be the quarterback of the best team in the league. But if Josh does that, I think he would still have to be statistically his best self. That usually comes with way more interceptions. I'm not saying Josh should be 20-1 to win MVP. Even I then would have to take a look at the value. But I know that I will not be betting Josh Allen at any point during the preseason, Joe, to win league MVP.
No, it's a great point. I think, for Buffalo and Josh Allen, the biggest thing is get over the hump and beat Kansas City or win an AFC championship. And if you could do that, they'll take that, and the MVP could be, in the rearview mirror. I think that's the biggest thing for Josh Allen now, to answer the critics. What are you going to get out of this football team? They had everything lined up a couple of seasons ago with home field advantage against the Kansas City Chiefs. They lose that game by 3 points. Last year, they were in striking distance on the road. James Cook, their best playmaker's not even out there on the final drive, and they lose again by 3 points. They have to find ways to beat the teams that they can't get over the hump on, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. When you look at this offense as a whole, I'm expecting Josh Allen to have a breakout year. Khalil Shakir and that passing attack need to step up. You bring in now Keon Coleman in year number 2. Can he elevate and play like the player that they thought he could be last year, a potential 1,000-yard receiver? And what do you get out of James Cook? You want him happy, right? He's halfway selling his house in Buffalo because he wants his money and they haven't given it to him. When James Cook runs the football, they are very effective. Again, I think this is a 12 or a 13-win football team. I think they have very good odds to potentially challenge for a championship. But to your point, do I believe Josh Allen will win an MVP this year? No, but I think it's winning football games. That's more important, Don.
Yeah, you'll get the edge on that. I like to call it the extracurriculars, because I think the Buffalo Bills are going to have a great schedule here, which means a lot of wins, which reflects on the quarterback. But then again, when you look at the way humans vote on the MVP, it's like if you didn't win it last year, you got a clean slate. Oh, Lamar Jackson's going to put up the exact same stats he did last year. Wow. Welcome to the MVP. Oh, wait, he couldn't have been MVP last year. Well, no, he won it the year before. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. So I do think you get that with Josh Allen. It's like, what did he do last year? How did they wind up? And if they do have the best record in the AFC, does it really matter? And is it for Josh? Because I think you got a bump last year, guys, when you're just saying to yourself, all right, what's the surrounding talent? Like, Patrick Mahomes is Andy Reid. It's got Travis Kelce, and Baltimore's flushed with talent with Derrick Henry in the backfield. What do you want him to do? He can only succeed. And, look what Josh has. James Cook, well, he was a very good running back last year, but catching people a little bit off guard with that great season. Khalil Shakir is your favorite, a couple decent tight ends, and voila, you have a great season, and Josh Allen gets the MVP. And he was deserving of being in the conversation and winning it, but I do think this year when I look at it, like, Josh Allen has to have a better season than last year, both record-wise and also statistically. I don't know if you can duplicate that.
What's interesting, though, Donnie, is it should be far more difficult for Lamar to improve on what he did statistically,
sure,
right? But because how his MVP conversations feel so similar to Nikola Jokic, what I would say is Lamar doesn't have to be better than what he was last year. If the Ravens end up with an incredible record, which they usually do in the regular season, and he just plays Lamar Jackson level good, he is the rightful favorite to me for this award because of how his numbers are just also outlier. They found a way, like he's such an efficient passer ultimately as well. I think the fascinating thing, though, is are we going to get to a point where we worry about both of these guys in the playoffs? Because Lamar, I understand that, like, Josh usually plays well, but they lose. He can't beat Pat. Like, the reality is he just cannot do it. And that, like, I don't know if you would have, this is unfair, but I think Baltimore would have beat Kansas City last year had they played. Odds makers agreed. They've agreed before. It's not played out that way. The Bills just cannot get through this team, Joe.
Psychologically. Now, I do want to bring up, because you said, the way the offense is built with Lamar, right? And when you look at the numbers, 34.50 and a half is his passing total this year. 28 and a half is his passing touchdown. The over has the juice of -114. Josh Allen has a higher passing yard prop than Lamar Jackson at 37.70 and a half, and he's got one touchdown less at 27 and a half. His is plus money. If you think Josh Allen, it's plus 112 to the over. So, the books believe that Josh could be more explosive in the passing attack this year, potentially, than Lamar. But we know that Lamar steps up in the regular season. He has dynamic performances. 2 games against Cincinnati, right? I mean, he lights up the Bengals defense. He's going to be able to play the Bengals and the Browns twice in the division, and the Steelers, who, by the way, have a bend but don't break type of defense where he could potentially light them up. So he has the ability to compile stats. But again, can he win an AFC championship? It's legacy now. You have 2 MVPs. You need the Super Bowl ring to go along with it to be up there with the greats. Jalen Hurts got his last year. Can Lamar and Josh crack through is the biggest question.
And also, you take a look at Lamar Jackson. With that defense that he has now, do we need to see him in the fourth quarter putting up electric numbers most weeks when they probably will have a lead? You take a look at Josh Allen. Is he going to need that with the schedule that we're predicting at this point? It's basically you're going to marriage the statistics going head-to-head with the record and see how it plays out. But again, with Josh Allen, he's already got it, he's hamstrung this year, per se, because he won it last year. He's going to have to duplicate and do more than he did last year, and the other guys won't have to do that.
We're going to talk about Burrow and Daniels in a second. Are you surprised that Mahomes maybe isn't the same number as Lamar?
Yeah, I am. I'm surprised about Mahomes. I'm also surprised on how the books price some of the receivers. Like, on certain books.
For MVP.
Not just MVP, just leading the league in receiving yards. Some books didn't even have Xavier Worthy. He's an 80-1 shot on certain books. It's just intriguing how they price the playmakers. We know that Pat Mahomes, for all but one season, threw for 4,000 yards each year. If he throws for 4,300, his receivers are going to eat.
That is true. I am fascinated to see if Mahomes was just kind of good soldiering it because, hey, we were winning. And if off of that, what has to be the most embarrassing, I don't know if it's embarrassing, but like lowest moment of his career,
Absolutely.
Right? Does he say, hey, look, Big Red, spin it and rip it, baby. All right? You're giving me multiple shots a game.
Shots.
Can I get back to 40 touchdown passes? I think that becomes interesting. 2 LSU quarterbacks expected to be in the race. We'll talk about them next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
You got
playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Cages. Let's get lucky.
If you're betting $50 a pop, doesn't matter. But if you want to bet $2 or $3 grand each side and literally have plus 110 on both sides, not the worst way to make some money on a Sunday night.
Not at all, right? I mean, and that's amazing. I've never really watched this in real time where you see these odds fluctuate with penalty kicks going on.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
When you take a look at the MVP odds, you see Lamar, Josh, Mahomes. And then it's Baton Rouge dominant with Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels, not just closing out the top 5, but there's a lot of separation from options 6, 7, and 8 on the board from where that top 5 is. So I'm going to go to Daniels first. Do you believe Jaden Daniels should be in the same tier of MVP odds as Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes?
No, but I understand why he's there.
I don't. I can't figure it out for the life of me.
NFC Championship appearance.
And how'd that go?
Team had a 5.5, 6
I think
win
he's still
total
on the
at
field
start
at
of
the
the
lake.
year. I remember people specifically on this test, I'm not going to name names, Kevin,
Yeah.
that said Jaden Daniels would not be better than Caleb Williams. And lo and behold,
jury's
he
still
was
out.
much better than Caleb Williams.
Yes, in year
Led
one.
this team to 12-plus wins, beat the number 1 seed in the NFC in terms of Detroit, beat them bad as a 9.5-point dog. And then what?
Got outplayed by an Alabama quarterback like he usually does. Shout out Jalen Milroe.
A much better team. A much
never won a
better
big
team.
game.
This team was in a major rebuild. Didn't even have an identity before Jaden Daniels and Josh Harris got there. With new ownership, Josh Harris changed the complexity. He did. They had a decision to make. The organization had a
Northwest
decision.
Stadium?
In the offseason when they were number 2, number 3 when they drafted. Oh, Drake, I heard Drake May.
Yeah.
Drake May, they should take Drake May.
A lot of buzz around Drake May.
Unbelievable. If they would have picked Drake May, they would have been in hell as an organization. They had the Heisman Trophy winner staring them in the face, and they picked and made the right decision. And he's deserving potentially as a dark horse MVP candidate if he could duplicate what he did last year. Do I believe now it'll be a harder road? Absolutely, because now teams won't take him for granted. We know how difficult the NFC East is in terms of back-to-back champions. Philadelphia, I think, has the best shot to do it. And again, the other teams that they have to go up with, teams like L.A., teams like Detroit, have veteran quarterbacks and potentially better defenses. We'll see what transpires. But he's deserving to be in the outside conversation. Is he as good as them right now? No.
Yeah, they caught a lot of hype last year, a lot of lightning in a bottle, played very well last year. Nobody thought they would be making at the beginning of the season a run to an NFC championship game, which they did get beat by the Philadelphia Eagles, but it's a learning process. But also understand this for me. Some of the smartest creatures on the planet are defensive coordinators. They had all summer long and all season long to watch tape of Jaden Daniels, what he likes to do, what he doesn't like to do, and to try to formulate a game plan. Because the thought process of, like, same thing with C.J. Stroud, unbelievable rookie year. he's going to take another step. What is that, 5,000 yards and 50 touchdown passes and, like, undefeated? Like, that's not probably going to happen. He's rightfully so to get all of this, let's just say, hype, but I don't think he's going to do that.
No, well, here's why I laugh.
Yeah.
Did that C.J. Stroud incredible and accurate analogy you bring up happen 20 years ago?
No.
So then how come nobody can remember that when discussing Jaden Daniels?
Wait a second.
Why?
Well, just wait a second. Again,
Why?
Because Jaden Daniels is a dual threat, and he's at CJ threw for 23-3, right? A pure pocket passer and led his team to a playoff win over Cleveland. He didn't make the championship game.
No, he's got got 2 playoff wins, same as Jaden.
Jaden took the game over, not just with his arm, but his legs. I mean, he dominated on the ground, and that's where I think when you look at MVP and you look at maybe trajectory, that's where you say he's an outside shot. Now, again.
But he doesn't have an outside shot. His shot is not an outside shot. He has an inside shot. He is significantly closer to Lamar Jackson than he is Jalen Hurts in the MVP odds.
Well, let's make the argument. Who's potentially on paper the second best team in the NFC East? Is it Washington? We're not saying it's Dallas.
No, okay. They are not even favorites in their own division. Can someone pull up the last time a quarterback won MVP and didn't finish first in their division?
Wow. So pull it up.
He's plus 850, Joe. You keep having this game where you're like, hold on, Kev. The kid, he's got an outside shot. They ain't booking him like he's got an outside shot.
What I'm saying is, so they're booking him like he's one of the favorites. Okay,
yeah,
so
they're booking him like
if he throws for 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, and runs for another 900.
So the exact season he had last year.
Yeah, but why not?
So now he's here.
But again, do you think it's going to be? I don't think it's going to be easy for him to duplicate that.
I don't. But my point is that was the season he.
So what if he throws? What if he throws for 3,000 yards,
Joe,
23 touchdowns, but he rushes for 1,000? That doesn't matter.
No, those are all great. Here's the thing.
But CJ didn't have that.
You are defending your guy despite agreeing with me. You're saying it'll be really hard for him to replicate 11 wins, 4,500 total yards, 30 total touchdowns. But despite that, he is booked this close to your former guy, Joe Burrow. No love for Burrow in this race anymore.
No, I think Joe Burrow has a very good shot. Again, as long as he plays the 17-game season and they start fast, which is they have to win week 1 against Cleveland because I think all wheels as a 5.5-point road
0-3 Bengals again.
They better. No, but even though the defense is atrocious, we know Joe Burrow is going to average 300 passing yards per game and potentially throw for 3 to 4 touchdowns every time he steps on the football field. So I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be in the conversation. Right now, if you're asking me both quarterbacks, I bet on Burrow before I would Daniels.
Probably getting a lot of action, too, at the sports books as well, pushing that number down. But a lot of hype on that season, but the expectations, again, like he's only going to get better. We've seen that play out before.
Joe Burrow, though, DRS, last season almost crept in. We talked, can a guy win it without actually
we were talking about
first.
that at the end of the season last year.
Now, the reality is Burrow ended up not really receiving any first-place votes despite throwing 43 touchdowns and 4,900 yards because you have to win a lot more games to really be in the race. And I think that is what makes the Burrow season so interesting, where I don't want to say nobody cares about his numbers, but it is going to be it's going to be such a wins and losses season for Cincinnati. Now, Offensive Player of the Year, they have some juice in that market as well because Jamar Chase just ripped off a Triple Crown.
Yeah. So
let's talk a little Offensive Player of the Year because not only is Jamar Chase, but Saquon Barkley, Justin Jefferson, a lot of relevant players. So we'll break that down next.
There's now 7 different directors of analytics for like the Raptors, the Chiefs, where you can see us all like workshopping these ideas in these threads because golf is so ubiquitous amongst gamblers. And so that was like the most popular non-poker forum was the golf sub-forum. And then once we started thinking about once I realized in 2013 that Brody's book was coming out, I just thought stroke chain putting was it.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
I'm saying I like their odds because I think they're insane at this point, but I do think they are a very viable option.
I don't even think their odds are that insane, honestly. They won 64 games.
So you like this move for them?
Well, so the odds...
Regardless of the odds, just from a basketball.
Yeah, the odds have nothing to do with it. They won 64 games. They were eliminated by the Pacers, who lost Halliburton. The other 60-win team was the Celtics, and they lost Tatum. I think...
And the Knicks don't have a coach.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
You want to take that gap year and trade LeBron James somewhere and get value, legitimate value for a 41-year-old player, LeBron James, I still think, in return. I think you have to explore that because if LeBron wants to win a title, we've heard so much buzz for, I think, 3 or 4 years now, Kevin, about Stephen Curry and LeBron James wanting to eventually play together. This might be that moment here. If you're the Golden State Warriors, why not make that call? I think that's something to watch out for.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Football today, Joe Lisi, Donnie Rightside, Kevin Walsh, the Offensive Player of the Year award over the last 6 years has been a non-quarterback award, which I'm totally fine with. It does lead to me usually at least once or twice a season asking, hey, any interest on this quarterback? I almost feel like Lamar not winning it last year maybe gives us an idea that this is really just going to be non-quarterbacks.
Did we ever have 2 quarterbacks? Like one MVP, one Offensive Player of the Year. Like I would like to see like the last couple years of this award to see if that would even be possible. Is that just like predetermined?
In 2019, like I think Lamar won not the official one.
Yeah.
But like I think maybe it was because he won MVP, like he took both home. Well, that was the thing, Donnie. We used to have guys win both, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we would have had a situation where like Josh wins MVP, Lamar wins Offensive Player of the Year. Now, the last 6 years of this award, we've seen 3 wide receivers and 3 running backs. So let me just start with this, Donnie. Do you think that you would be more attracted to the running back position or the wide receiver position when evaluating this market?
Wide receiver position, because it's so hard for a running back. Even though you saw last year, like Derrick Henry was sensational. Same thing with Saquon Barkley. Like that's the anomaly, though. Like we were supposed to be getting away from the running back position in the NFL. Now we have a resurgence. But understand this: much easier for a wide receiver to make it through 17 weeks than a running back, and certainly a running back running at a high level. Like we're supposed to believe like the 1,000-yard season is good. Well, obviously we know now with 17 games that has to be elevated. When you're a running back run for like 1,400 yards, oh my goodness, that's amazing. Like guys are running for 2,000 last year, which is absolutely incredible. But for me, it's always going to be a wide receiver. Why? It's a passing league. They're going to get more opportunities to make more big plays.
Yeah, I agree with Donnie. I think the only running back that I would buy into, obviously outside of Saquon, would be Derrick Henry at 14-1, just because of the 2,000-yard marker. If anybody could duplicate it, I do believe it's Derrick Henry in a run-based offense with Baltimore. But Donnie's right. Let's not forget a couple seasons ago when Tyreek Hill was on that type of marker, right? What do you have, 1,700 towards the end of the regular season? We were talking about him for Offensive Player of the Year, and then he got hurt, and then we threw the 2,000 yards out the window. There's the potential with some of these players. Players like Justin Jefferson, players like Jamar Chase. You look at C.D. Lamb now with Dak coming back for a full season. There is the potential and great value. I mean, when you look at just the numbers alone, 9-1 on Jamar Chase. He wins a Triple Crown. We know that Joe Burrow and that offense are going to chuck it all over the yard. I mean, there's great value there. I'll just say this as it relates relates to Tyreek. If you do believe that Tyreek can have a bounce-back type of season now and being 100% healthy, the 35-1 makes sense. If you do believe that he's completely bought in this season, the problem is I'm not bought in to Miami as a whole.
I'll throw the shot out there. List of players last year, 170 or more targets. Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors, that's the list. And Neighbors finished 5 targets away from Chase despite playing 2 less games. We expect improved quarterback play throughout the season. And the Offensive Player of the Year award race is not really about record. I know someone would say, well, no, that's why Saquon beat out Chase. Yes, but also Saquon ran for 2,000 yards. And I think that catches the eye actually a little bit more than a Triple Crown does necessarily catch an eye. People are going to remember the Saquon season last year significantly more than they're going to remember the Jamar Chase season. Malik Neighbors, I mean, with Russell Wilson last year, we saw he could still throw the deep ball. I think Malik Neighbors has sometimes we throw out odds where it's like, hey, this guy can just beat the number. Like, I think Malik Neighbors legitimately is already one of the 5 best receivers. I don't know. The LSU stuff's nuts. Like, I know we joke, the wide receiver stuff.
Yes.
Like, the fact that we had the Chase-Jefferson combination, and then right behind it is Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., both on the same team. I mean, it's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, and I'm buying, 35-1 for Malik Neighbors to have a dynamic year and potentially maybe 1,500, 1,700 yards, depending upon the type of success with Russell Wilson. It isn't out of the realm of possibility, especially when you have a coach with his back against the wall in Brian Daboll that has to win football games, get the football and feed your best player. I think it's great value. I think Brian Thomas at 40-1. We know that Trevor Lawrence comes back. We know Liam Cohen in that offensive attack wants to have balance, but still chucks it. Baker Mayfield had 4,500 yards with his, calling the plays in Tampa. So you can't say he's not going to eat in Jacksonville. So not bad value across the board.
Do you know one player I'm probably going to downgrade just a little bit? He's in second place right now. It's Jamar Chase. Look at his division. Cleveland's going to have a really good defense. You see the Pittsburgh Steelers loading up at cornerback. Take a look at Jair Alexander now in an unbelievable cornerback field in Baltimore Ravens. Maybe it is a slight downgrade for the guy.
I would say Jefferson for me because of McCarthy.
The Jefferson number, though, I feel like is interesting because of the McCarthy impact. We'll be right back. We're live with you on SportsGrid.
We all know a night out at the club in Vegas can get a little bit pricey, but I've got a tip that can save you a cover fee at some of the hottest nightclubs. All you have to do is sign up online for free with a credible guest list service. Then, just show up before 10:30 and check right in. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
So we just talked Offensive Player of the Year, which is home to a lot of the biggest stars in this league outside of the quarterback position. I think one player who is going to enter the conversation in terms of star power is Travis Hunter. I'm not saying he's winning Offensive Player of the Year. I don't know if Travis is going to win any awards this year. I believe that when we list out the 10 biggest headlines of this NFL season, Travis Hunter is inside that top 10. He's a show leader, if you would, right, Donnie? The week that he does catch a touchdown and maybe a pick six, if that does happen, like that is something that you just have to talk about with Travis Hunter. Having top 3 odds in both Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year. But there's another piece that we haven't been able to revisit really since the draft, the three of us together, and it's what will Travis Hunter's role be in Jacksonville? And they made it kind of clear, I feel, from the moment they drafted him and still being the case. It is to play wide receiver. I feel as if he's talented enough he can go out there and cover anybody. It was the reverse idea of Colorado, Joe, right?
Right.
All DB room, he'll find a way to get open. Jacksonville traded up and made this move for the playmaker that is Travis Hunter. I'm not saying he's going to be their number one wide receiver because Brian Thomas is so incredible. But I think they are looking, Travis Hunter has an over-under of 750.5. I think they want Travis on the 1,000-yard trajectory this coming season.
Yes, absolutely. And let's think about the offense in Tampa Bay last year with Liam Cohen, right? You have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You have a pure number one, and you have Godwin that did all the dirty work underneath on dig routes. And when they double-teamed Mike Evans, right, got open. It's unfortunate he got hurt, but that was his role in the offense. The role for Travis Hunter is simple. Take double teams away from Brian Thomas and work the middle and be that route runner to do the dirty work in year number one. You specifically got him because he's a unique athletic talent offensively and defensively. And I believe he's going to hit the ground running just the way he did in Colorado. He's going to step up. He's going to make plays. He catches the football at its highest point, has great hands. He's still a little raw in terms of the route running, but I still believe he is going to be 750, 800. He's 750 in terms of receiving yards and 5 interceptions if you want to take that shot. 17-1 right now on FanDuel. It's not a bad number. If you believe he's going to play on the defensive side of the ball, whether it be 15 or 20 plays, maybe they'll work him in slowly, nickel type of situations. He's going to eat. He's a ball hawk on both sides of the ball, Don.
Yeah, I'm surprised the way it started. But again, we're just going through like OTAs where you're trying to get him to learn the offensive playbook, and I get that. But I'm not getting too much information on Travis Hunter is working out on defense and like locking down opponents right now. Because the expectations for me coming in, I thought you would thread the needle and be like, you know what? This guy's an absolute stud as a cornerback. They're so hard to find in the NFL, but yet he's elite on offense where when we need him in packages and spurts to save him, he can be effective here. It looks like they're almost going the opposite where it's like, let me put you full-time wide receiver and oh, yeah, in the 2-minute drill when we go to nickel, you'll be the nickel cornerback, which is kind of odd to me because you have Brian Thomas Jr., a bona fide number one, who I love the fact that Travis Hunter is going to help him get open just by being out on the field. But I really thought a better use or allocation would have been full-time cornerback, spurs him in on offense. When you're in passing, when you're down, he can be that guy because I thought that's the best use of the talent that he has.
I think the thing, though, is, Donnie, if your options were the best receiver in the league or the best corner in the league, you take the best receiver in the league, and the offense is just more valuable. So they view who he can be as an offensive player as the priority of trading up for the player. And I've talked about the money piece of it for Travis. Now, maybe he'll end up getting paid as a both. And all right, good luck figuring out what that number is going to be. But there's way more money in it for wide receivers and cornerbacks. There just is. Pat Surtain will never come close to that Jamar Chase number. It's just the reality of it. So it makes sense for Jacksonville on how do you get the most juice out of the guy, and it makes sense for Travis for how do you get
but
the
is he really
biggest
that
payday.
guy at wideout, though? Like, because you come from Colorado, wheeling and dealing, your best friend's the quarterback, it's bad defenses, you're just a better athlete, and you stomp them where it's like, okay, like you can be a legitimate cornerback. Because coming out of high school, like Travis Hunter was a great player, cornerback. Going to Jackson State, cornerback. oh, he's going to play a little bit more wide receiver at Colorado, but we knew he's an electric, one of the best cornerbacks, and now not to use that as his primary position, that's where I get a little bit confused.
What I would say, Donnie, and Joe, I'll throw to you on this, but I actually think because so many people thought cornerback was the lead position, it actually undersold the fact that he was legitimately the best wide receiver in that class. I heard respectable places suggesting that his comp, again, LSU wide receiver, was Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, yes. And he worked at Jackson State as a wide receiver, you know, in the championship game, stepped up, made some touchdown receptions, put that game into overtime like 3 seasons ago. But, again, you just look at the athleticism, his ability to just get open, the ability to find the football. And go back to that North Dakota State
Point of
game.
catch, red zone.
Just unbelievable, the ability to just do that. Number, when you have a pure number one that's going to run off the secondary and just work underneath. And let's not forget, you have Tank Bigsby and you have Travis Etienne, the way he had Rashad White and Bucky Irvin working out of the backfield, and Evans still got 1,000 yards. Godwin, if he was involved in that offense, 8. McMillan in Tampa Bay still found his way towards the end of the regular season. Again, if they target him the way I believe, 75 to 80 receptions, maybe 900 yards, and maybe, I'll say maybe he can get to 10 touchdowns, but realistically in the area 7 or 8.
I do think he's a big again, just when you watch all those Colorado games, like in the red zone, that's where he did so much damage. Like, I think that Brian Thomas is the deep threat touchdown guy. Like, I'm wide open, no one's near me. I think Hunter can challenge him in the touchdown department. All of that, though, leads to Trevor Lawrence. And what is this guy going to be? You know, the Trevor Lawrence pedigree, we've talked a lot of MVP award on this show. Trevor Lawrence at 45-1 should be a number that, you know, has a blinking red light next to it. Off the top of my head, I would assume that Hunter plus Brian Thomas, one of the 6 best wide receiver duos in the National Football League. They bring in Liam Cohen. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement there. Now, of course, look, the MVP award dictated by wins and losses, so will they be able to stack those up accordingly? But can Trevor Lawrence, I would say this, Donnie, this is the best situation Trevor Lawrence has entered a season with?
Yes, by far. This is the time where you say this stuff because Trevor Lawrence got drafted the NFL generational talent. You know what also Trevor Lawrence got? A generational contract, being the number 1 quarterback in that franchise and getting paid like it here, and hasn't really lived up to the billing, whether it's on the field issues or just being injured at this point. But now you have Liam Cohen as the lead dog, as calling your plays. That's fantastic. Joe's already brought that up multiple times. This fits perfectly here. He's surrounded by a wealth of talent. Like, across the board, you have all the weapons. So if I'm buying into Trevor Lawrence, not necessarily as an MVP, the touchdown passes with those weapons, if he's not throwing I don't even know what his number is, by the way. If he doesn't get 25-plus touchdown passes, what are we doing out here with Trevor Lawrence as our trigger man?
Totally agree. 3,700 and a half.
Yeah.
And here's where you're gonna be shocked.
Go.
Take a guess on his touchdowns. Just
21 and a half.
22 and a half.
Love it.
He should be able to get 20 as long as he's healthy. I need to see Trevor Lawrence be poised. I need him to be confident, go through the passing tree, and not be a deer in the headlights. He regressed last year in the limited action that he played. Now, you want to give that on Doug Peterson and maybe the offensive staff, that's fine. There's no margin of error. When you have 2 legitimate running backs that could also catch the football out of the backfield, you have a legitimate big play number 1, you have the best potential wide receiver in the draft, no margin of error. For him to hit 4,000 yards this year, plus 170.
And he loves Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up.
Bitcoin's up, yeah. He took
Trevor
the salary
Lawrence,
in Bitcoin.
Remember that? He had paid the Jaguars year number 1.
When he took the salary in Bitcoin, Bitcoin tanked.
Yep.
So that financial advisor might be in.
I just want to check something. Better wide receiver duo.
Yeah.
Hunter and Thomas Jr., CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens.
Ooh. Tough.
Just this season. Because down the road it might be obvious.
I would lean to Thomas and Hunter.
Come on, DRS.
Yeah, because Pickens is the wild card where he could play unbelievably or, man, they just cut the guy. You know what I mean? That's what I have to deal with that guy.
I think it might be Lamb and Pickens. Because CeeDee's still such a superstar. Let's talk Offensive Rookie of the Year. Hunter and his opponents next.
let's get down to business with the particulars. The Pittsburgh Steelers will get Jalen Ramsey into their defensive backfield. They'll get Jonnu Smith.
All this talk I'm hearing about they're going to trade TJ Watt, that's not happening either. Okay, so I don't think that's even remotely in the cards. All this talk today, he's next. I don't believe that. I think they're going to give him a new deal.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Lonzo Ball, I guess, Chicago, they've just, kind of had enough here. Traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. What do you make of them being healthy? You think there's a chance? I mean, that's kind of the key.
What you said with all these guys re-signing kind of speaks to the landscape of free agents this year. Most of the guys, there isn't that much money out there to be had. I think the Nets are the only team that actually have cap space and can sign anybody outright.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Will Aaron Judge be at the top of the home run board in MLB? What say you?
Judge probably is going to hit 55, 58. Somewhere around there is his number there. So I'll say I'm going to buy this. Aaron Judge will lead the major leagues in home runs this year. Listen, I'm not breaking news. I probably would take that every year. And when he plays, these next couple until he's getting up there in age, until his bat does start to slow down.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, of course, has juice because Travis Hunter's involved in the market, but you also have a first overall pick in Cam Ward and the favorite, which is Ashton Jeanty, the Vegas Raiders running back here. We talked quite a lot about Travis. Do you agree, DRS, with the idea of Jeanty, the running back, being booked as the favorite in this market?
Because the hype coming in where it's like, okay, we understand what Pete Carroll's about. He loves to run the football. They're going to run the football. The opportunities are going to be endless for a guy that's going to be a day one starter if he stays healthy all 17 games. Like, really, what are we looking at, 250-plus touches as a running back? And he does have the electricity. For me, I'm not betting Ashton Jeanty because I think there's some other viable options down there because also, you're still looking at the running back position, man. Like, great 6 weeks. Hamstring injury. Now, grant a wide receiver, a quarterback can have that, but the running back is so volatile, I just don't think I want to see it. And also, if you are looking from a Raiders perspective, we're not taking Ashton Jeanty like he's the missing piece of the puzzle. Remember when it was Zeke Elliott got drafted to the Cowboys, which had the anomaly of an injury, and then you knew they were going to be really good the next year? Well, third and fourth quarter, what are we doing? We're running the football because we're winning all these games. Yeah. I don't know if you have that with Vegas.
Yeah, Jeanty's deserving based off of the hype, right? He was,
It's the floor, isn't it? Because he's supposed to run for like 1,000.
Disgraced himself in his last game, though.
Yeah,
what was that last minute? What was the last minute, Joe, of his last game?
102 yards, and he still found a way to, power his way against one of the best defenses in the Big Ten. But for me, there's two guys I would buy into. And one comes with a little bit of hype. That's Tat McMillan with Carolina. You couple him now with Leggett and Adam Thielen in Carolina. If you believe in Bryce Young at the end of the regular season, you got to believe that they're going to open it up. I think he could potentially be a 1,000-yard wide receiver. If that's the case, like Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors at 10-1, I think it's great value. The other one, and we talked about it on draft day, and I know the team is absolutely terrible, but Quinshon Judkins for Cleveland. He is cemented as potentially the starter there. They lose Nick Chubb 15-1. He was 19 or 20-1 earlier in the year. We know that they're going to run the football. I think Quinshon Judkins, I still say he's the best running back potentially in this draft class. I'm buying in. I know you why? Because that's my guy. I back my guys. I can't help it. I back my guys.
Cleveland back.
Like, look, he hit you the bet to go for Trevion, right?
Yep.
And that's great.
But I believe in him. He's a workhorse. He's a bigger back. He's more durable. He's built in the exact same body frame as Nick Chubb. Why wouldn't I buy into him? He scored 3 touchdowns against Notre Dame. I mean, come on.
I just think, man, to zag on the running back favorite.
I just said Jeanty.
But to skip over Amarion Hampton.
I'm not high on Hampton. I'm sorry. I'm not.
But situationally.
But Najee's there, though, too.
Yeah, the thing is they clearly don't like him that much if they spent a first-round pick on Amarion Hampton. Wouldn't you agree?
Well,
do you think Najee Harris is all that?
I think Najee is competent enough to take carries away from Amarion Hampton. They still utilized Gus Edwards and J.K. last year. Nah, Jerome Ford is... Come on, third down back. Come on.
I'm surprised you went to Judkins.
I did.
I didn't
what about
see that
Tad
coming.
McMillan? Did you see that coming?
Yeah, that feels more on brand. I don't know. That tracks for me.
His first 3 games, he's hot. Joe's off him right away. Like, can't do it anymore. 120 yards, 115, 110.
I will say, shocked. 12-1 for Tyler Shuck.
He's supposed to start.
That's a good one, though.
So that if that team wins more than 3 games, I'd be shocked.
What do you mean that's a good one?
I think he's going to be throwing the ball all over it a lot. Like, I like Kellen Moore as a coach.
Would you rather Shuck or Cam Ward?
Cam Ward.
Not better player. Odds. I'm seeing 3-1 Cam Ward, 12-1 Shuck.
Yeah,
You had to make
I'll
a bet.
probably take Shuck at 12-1. Yeah, this guy will.
I don't even think Shuck will be the starter at the end of the year. Come on,
push it in. Push it into the middle of the table.
No,
Come on.
I don't. I'm sold on Tyler Shuck.
I mean, Kellen Moore down there calling the signals, man. Guy's ready.
Kellen Moore loves to run the football.
He's as old as a vet already.
I feel like if you get Donnie early enough in the morning, he might not be able to tell you the Saints starting quarterback. I'm not sure I'm buying that you like Tyler Shuck.
Yeah.
Will Howard at 75-1.
I don't hate the Will Howard. Now that's a good one. I like Rodgers retires before the season. Howard comes in starting QB. I don't hate
rookies
that.
do well in Pittsburgh. We've seen Tyler Warren 25-1 is interesting for me too as a tight end. I really like that spot where it's like Steichen's going to get that fired up. But for me, again, the quarterback position, you're right. It's price point, right? Plus 300 on Cam Ward. Well, he's supposed to be up there. He's supposed to be great. But also, there are some chances where, like, the one that's going to be a bad football team, so are the Titans. I just think Kellen Moore is like, we're going to put a lot on this guy's plate. Let's go out there and let him eat, and he can throw touchdown passes while we get smoked.
What about
Loveland's not bad either.
Jalen Milroe?
I was going to bring that up. I said I'll perk you right up.
I think Seattle really likes Jalen Milroe. They tweet about him a lot.
Okay.
I think they gave the
Let's get
word
Matt
to the
Flynn, the guy. You know what I mean? Chime him, get him out.
It would be perfect. Oh, if I told you Jalen Milroe, week 1 starter, what would you make the number to win Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Now?
Yeah.
Oh, now he's 75-1 to win Offensive.
I understand that. I'm saying if I just told you, because they don't think he's going to play. If he was the starter.
If he's week 1 starter, he'd be 30-1.
Please let me shop at that book. He'd be the favorite. He'd be the favorite. Our Seattle quarterback.
He's thinking R.J. Harvey.
You got Shuck at
How about R.J. Harvey?
12-1. You're booking Milroe at 30?
I think
that's a local. That local's going to get put out of business quick. I mean, we'll bury that
Make
guy.
him 30-1.
We'll bury your local.
He's got 3 interceptions written all
ghost
over it.
accounts all over the place with your local, man. We'll bury that
LSU's
guy.
laying 6 extra points every week at that book for some reason.
Monmouth minus 14 that week.
Tyler Shuck.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. So who's the Dolphins rookie you want, Joe?
Nah, I don't want any Dolphins. None.
Nothing jumps off the page.
Scatterboo 80-1. Come on now.
Oh, Scatterboo's not a Dolphin, but Scatterboo.
I don't
with
hate
the
the
Giants.
Scatterboo look.
Let me tell you, dual threat.
Where's Shador?
How about Gray Zabel? Any interest?
No.
400-1?
No.
Who he play for? You know what I mean? We could Jonah
Will
Sedavaya? I mean, come on now.
Caleb Johnson.
You don't know first-round draft pick?
Tommy
Zabel?
Tommy Malott?
They really shouldn't be allowed to put offensive linemen.
Yeah. Like, at least put their helmet next to the name over here. Help somebody out, man.
Caleb
Come
Johnson with the Steelers isn't bad either. If you think they're going to run the football.
And so you've given out Will Howard and Caleb Johnson in this segment.
Will Howard. I was joking about Will Howard.
Defensive Rookie of the Year is next. Oh, my.
Here's a tip. Let's say you bet big on a 4-game moneyline parlay. Your first 3 bets have hit, but you're a little nervous about the last game. Consider placing a separate bet against the team you have winning in your parlay. You're technically a winner either way. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Something tells me this is just going to end up a conversation about retired numbers. Abdul Carter's the favorite at 2-1. Jalen Walker plus 850. Mikal Williams is 10-1, same price as Travis Hunter. Mike Green, Jahad Campbell, James Pierce, Mason Graham, Malachi Starks, with then Shamar Stewart, and then Jahdae Barron rounding out what is your top 11 options on the board here. Abdul Carter at 2-1 is hard to disagree with because of how much this award is an edge rushers award and the gap that he was viewed between himself and the next closest guy. How do you feel, Donnie, about the Abdul Carter pricing?
I mean, granted, it's hard to say that you say you hate where he went for him to win that award. And so, well, what do you mean?
That's
you know what I mean?
take.
Because you have two legitimate defensive ends. Now, granted, you drafted him because he was the best overall talent in the draft, and I can never fault the Giants for doing that. But you have Burns on one side who's really good, and then you take a look at Thibodeau on the other side who is also very good, and you say to yourself, like, you know, where does he fit in? Like, how many reps is he going to get, and how can he dominate? Now, granted, we've seen in the past, like Steve Spagnuolo defenses with the NASCAR offense. He's going to get his opportunities. But, boy, I would have liked it better if they moved one of those defensive ends and say, hey, kid, you're going to play 17 weeks, just get to the quarterback. I would love it. But that's why I'm sort of like downplaying it just a little bit. He is the best player in the draft, but the opportunities on that team, he should get them, but I should never have to worry about that, though, Joe.
No, you shouldn't. For me, again, I think he's going to be a great pro. Is he worthy of Rookie of the Year right now? I wouldn't bet him at this price. I would take a shot on a couple other edge rushers that I believe in that I talked about in the draft. One is Mikal Williams with San Francisco. We're talking about the ability to step up and plug and play immediately. Talking about a team that has championship aspirations. And we talk about talent. You know, if this draft was a couple of seasons ago, Mikal Williams would have been potentially one of the first players off the board. But because of injuries and because of where he slipped and fell, I thought the San Francisco 49ers got a steal in terms of the values. A 10-1 shot. I think, again, he's going to have a dominant rookie season. The other player is a 26-1 shot. And it's Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. And you're talking about, again, another dominant player. He led Ole Miss with one of the best rush defenses in all of the SEC and all of college football. They held opposing offenses to 80 rushing yards per game. He's physical. And Arizona as a whole, going to a defensive-minded head coach in terms of Gannon, I believe in this team. I think Walter Nolan at 26-1, guys, has great value.
So I think that Carter is the rightful favorite. I think that the Donnie point, though, of could his workload be lesser than some of these other guys, I think that's really, really interesting. The guy that I would make the case on in James Pierce at 19-1 is that James Pierce was the only guy who people, I think, and it wasn't a lot of people, but were willing talent-wise to put in the Abdul Carter conversation. The reality was James Pierce came with concerns, right? Off the field, we don't know about those necessarily, but those seem to exist. Well, Atlanta must have not been that concerned considering they gave up a future first-round draft choice in order to bring James Pierce into their building. So I think that kind of jumps off of the page a little bit to me. Donnie, you want your Shamar Stewart space here to just talk about whether or not he'll ever be a Cincinnati
exactly,
Bengal?
which is a shame because he's 21-1 as we sit here, at some books, and you say, well, this is perfect because you have one guy in Hendrickson who we don't know if is going to play or hold out or be there. So on a defense, he's going to get unlimited snaps, unlike maybe Abdul Carter would get, and that's where the value comes in. But for me, you're right. If he's not going to be there or misses 2 to 3 weeks over some contract language here, the last thing you want is a rookie. Like, TJ Watt can say, I'm going to hold out, and day before training camp, or day before the season, I'm going to come in out 3 sacks on that Sunday here. Rookies can't do that. Like, they need to be in practicing with their team in that defensive concept with Al Golden, and he's not going to be there. 21-1 should be a steal, but it's not a steal if you're not there, Joe.
No, either you're bought in or you're bought out. I understand there's concerns about the contract, but at some point you got to play football and you got to contribute to this football team. You can't come in first week of September and say, "Here I am, I'm ready to contribute." It just doesn't work that way.
Here's what I would say though, Joe. Shamar Stewart, this playing out, usually you would see a lot of people go at the player. Ace Bailey in the NBA draft. He landed in one of the few situations where the public opinion will go against the organization because of how they handle money in general with players.
No, you're right. I get it. And I understand he has concerns and he's setting basically a precedent. But again, at some point, you got to get with your agent and say, we got to do this sooner rather than later. Otherwise, he's going to be checked out.
And that's where we still sit. We'll talk some NFC West next.
We all thought that hire made by the Knicks would be big and splashy and can live on the marquee here in the Big Apple.
He's kind of walking into a situation where he's on the hot seat right away. And you don't see this very often in sports where somebody walks into a job and it's like, yo, you're immediately on the hot seat. Like, if this is sideways by Christmas.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Tony Gwynn had 107 career at-bats against Greg Maddux. Never struck out once.
Oh, that's nuts.
In 107 times. 107. Cam, if you took the modern player and said, are you going to face Maddux 107 times in a row? Like Vlad Guerrero Jr. and these guys, they'd strike out like 62 times type thing.
Exactly.
They'd be like 80 times. They'd be like whiffing.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
5-year contract. It's just, I bring it up only because who cares, Scott? It's just mine. Jaren Jackson Jr., good player. Don't get me wrong. $50 million a year. You know, we all bitch and complain about the Juan Soto deals and the Ohtani deals, and you get guys like Jaren Jackson making $50 million a year.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.